Mount Ararat, the discovery that was never meant to be. Found. In 1959, a single photograph changed everything. A Turkish army captain, İlhan Durupinar, was reviewing routine aerial survey images after a series of devastating earthquakes struck eastern Turkey. His mission was simple: compare the landscape before and after the quakes. Measure damage, update maps, nothing more. But then, he saw it. A massive, ship-shaped formation carved into the mountainside near Mount Ararat. At first, it seemed impossible. A trick of light, a coincidence of erosion. Just another strange rock formation shaped by mud flows and time. Except it wasn't random. It was symmetrical, elongated, proportioned like a vessel. And it was sitting in the exact region where ancient texts claimed humanity's last hope once came to rest. The mountains of Ararat. The place where, according to the Bible, Noah's Ark landed after the greatest catastrophe the world has ever known. For centuries, people searched the summit of Mount Ararat itself and failed. No ship, no remains, nothing. So what if everyone had been looking in the wrong place? What if the Bible never said the Ark landed on the peak of Ararat but in the mountains of Ararat? And what if Captain Durupinar had just found it? The book of Genesis tells a clean story. Humanity became corrupt. Violence filled the earth. God chose to erase it all with water sparing only one man, Noah. He was instructed to build an ark, 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, 30 cubits high, sealed with pitch, built to endure. For decades, Noah worked while the world laughed. Then, the rain came. Not a storm, not a flood, a global reset. The fountains of the deep burst open. The sky collapsed. Mountains disappeared. Everything that breathed died. For 150 days, the ark drifted. Then, Genesis 8-4 states, on the 17th day of the 7th month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Not a single mountain, a range. When the waters receded, only 8 people stepped into a new world. According to Scripture, every civilization, every nation, every human alive today traces back to those survivors. A fresh start, or so we're told, because almost immediately, something feels off. Genesis 11 describes humanity building the Tower of Babel, not to worship God, but to challenge him. God responds by confusing their languages and scattering them across the earth. But here's the problem. Civilizations don't just appear overnight. Yet suddenly, after the flood, the Sumerians emerge with advanced mathematics and astronomy. The Egyptians build monuments. Modern engineers still struggle to explain. Göbekli Tepe appears around 9,600 BC with precision stonework that predates known civilization. This isn't a slow climb. It's a restart with memory. And some ancient texts explain why. The Book of Enoch speaks of the Watcher's beings who taught humans forbidden knowledge before the flood. Metallurgy, weapon making, astronomy, medicine. This knowledge corrupted the world, so God erased it. But what if not everything was lost? What if Noah, described as righteous, was allowed to preserve more than just animals? What if he carried knowledge from the antediluvian world into the new one? And what if that knowledge was passed down selectively, through bloodlines? If that's true, then Noah's Ark wasn't just a boat. It was a vessel of memory. When Durupinar's photos surfaced publicly, it caught the attention of researchers worldwide. But one man became obsessed. Ron Wyatt. In the 1,970 seconds, Wyatt arrived at the Durupinar site, armed with metal detectors and radar equipment. What he found disturbed everyone involved. Linear structures beneath the surface, regular rib-like patterns running the length of the formation, high concentrations of metal, aligned, organized, deliberate. To Wyatt, it looked like a ship's skeleton. To mainstream archaeology, it was coincidence. But then came the side effects. Equipment malfunctioned. Batteries drained rapidly. Compasses spun uncontrollably. Some team members reported headaches, nausea, and dizziness the moment they approached the site. One researcher left entirely, claiming the mountain felt alive. Locals had known the site long before any archaeologist arrived. They called it Gemler, the boats. Villagers avoided it. Livestock refused to graze nearby. Strange lights were reported hovering above the formation at night. Weather shifted suddenly without warning. Then came the restrictions. By the 1,980 seconds, Mount Ararat was declared a military restricted zone. Official reason? Border security. Unofficial effect? Silence. Permits were denied. Funding disappeared. Excavation stopped. The mountain was closed. Wyatt's most controversial claim involved iron. He detected metal consistent with fasteners or fittings. Iron components embedded in the structure. But here's the problem. Ironworking isn't supposed to exist at the time of Noah. The Iron Age begins thousands of years later, unless the antediluvian world was more advanced than we're told. unless metallurgy existed before the flood and was lost or buried. Some researchers went further. They suggested the Ark wasn't just wooden, that it contained a system, a power source capable of regulating temperature, preserving life, and sustaining animals for over a year. Electromagnetic interference, magnetic anomalies, vibrations beneath the ground. These aren't myths, they're measurements, and they're still happening. Not all reports were frightening. Some claimed healing. A Turkish farmer said chronic pain vanished after sleeping near the site. A journalist reported a long-term skin condition disappeared days after visiting. Coincidence? Or residue of ancient knowledge? Cedar wood is antimicrobial. Pitch has medicinal properties. Biblical purification rituals were chemically effective. What if the Ark was built with intention we no longer understand? Geologists say the formation is a mudflow. The ribs are natural rock layers. Iron readings come from volcanic soil. Compass issues are caused by magnetite. Historians argue flood myths are common. Civilizations evolved gradually. There is no need for a global flood. And maybe they're right. But then explain this. Recent ground-penetrating radar scans detected something new. A corridor over 200 feet long. Angular structures buried 20 feet underground. Right angles. Symmetry. Rooms. Not random. Not natural. Soil analysis revealed elevated organic material, consistent with long-term habitation. Something was there. Something still is. And no one is allowed to touch it. The Durupanar site hasn't moved. The restrictions remain. The anomalies continue. If this is just rock, why the secrecy? If it's not Noah's Ark, what is buried beneath Mount Ararat? And what happens if someone finally uncovers it? Keep your minds open. Subscribe for more. Because some origins were never meant to stay secret.